Right now, let's have a look at what she's got to say about making the new album Hard Candy.
It wasn't done in one long stretch of time. It was very broken up because the people that I work with, Pharrell, Justin Timberlake, and Timbaland are all very busy. They work with lots of different artists, they're on tour, they're in movies, etc., etc. So they were very hard to schedule. So I ended up doing the album in sort of 2-week stints, and another wait a couple weeks, and another 2-week stint, and wait another couple weeks, and another 2-week stint, and then it took much longer than I usually take to make a record, just because there was so much space in between. I suppose my scheduling factored into it, but of course, my perspective is that they were difficult and I wasn't. Yeah. No, I think it was hard for all of us to make our schedules coordinate, and that was the biggest challenge. When we actually got in the studio and started making music, it was actually quite simple.
See what she says about music and the role it plays in her life.
The thing about me is, in terms of creativity, the first place that I started expressing myself as an artist was through dance. And that's completely and utterly connected to music. So for me, becoming a songwriter and a singer and a performer was a perfect segue from dancing. And I think that even when I get involved in film projects, I always think of them in a very musical way. I think about what music's going to be scoring the scene. Music inspires me to write a scene. I feel like music is still very much an integral part of every aspect of my creativity. I'm always going to want to write music, and I just feel like music speaks to people in a way and that no other art form can, and it is, in my opinion, the most accessible art form. So, yeah. You could say it's my first love.
Talking about why she would choose to work with three of the biggest men in music. We're talking about Timbaland, Justin Timberlake, and Pharrell. Hit us up, Maj.
When I made the decision to work with Pharrell and Justin and Timbaland, it was really just a matter of I loved their records. And after I made Confessions on a Dance Floor, I was scratching my head thinking, well, what do I want to do next? What kind of music do I want to do next? And so I asked myself, well, whose music do I love right now? Who am I listening to? What records am I buying? What makes me excited? What am I excited about right now, musically? And it was those three. So I thought, well, why don't I work with them? I looked their phone numbers up in the phone book. No. Well, you know, that's where managers come in. They call other people's managers, and actually, Justin and Timbaland approached me, and I think Pharrell did as well, but I think they just were, at first they were just saying, like, we would love to just do one song with you, kind of thing, and I thought, well, why just do one song? Let's do the whole record together. It's not my normal way of working, because usually I don't usually work with other artists who are also performers. Like Pharrell, he makes his own records, he goes on tour. He's a singer himself, so is Justin. And Timbaland, they were all on tour when I was working with them. So it was a little bit of a different energy working with other performers. I'm used to being the diva in the room, and the person I'm with is much more of a support system for me. So I had to adjust to, sharing diva space. Yeah. Which was fun, and sometimes there was fireworks, but it made for something interesting because everybody was very opinionated, and once you adapt to that environment, then everything goes good.
Say about the song.
The first single, 4 Minutes to Save the World, is kind of the axis with which the rest of the album rotates off of, because there's a sense of urgency to it, and there's a sense of seriousness about it, but at the same time there's a sense of fun and levity. So I think you get that through the whole record. I think if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, and what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on with the elections, what's going on with the environment, what's going on with there's so much chaos and turmoil everywhere, and all signs point to everybody better wake up and start paying attention and to the world around them, and what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be a part of the problem or a part of the solution? But I also think people still need to be cheered on and be, you know, we need to have fun. We can't be paralyzed with all this negative information. You need to be given a sense of hope as well. So I think that 4 Minutes to Save the World sort of, you know, came from that idea, you know. Could you save the world with a song, you know? Could you make people wake up and, you know? So it's kind of like the answer is yes and no.